Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today. My name is Teresa Dodson. I'm the Director of Partner Marketing for Jitterbit. And I'd like to start off by giving you a few of our housekeeping rules. One is, if you have any questions, please submit those into the Q&A on the left-hand side. If you have any problems writing or filling in the Q&A, the best thing to do is try to refresh your browser. That should fix that. If not, there is a chat for you to ask for help. If we don't have time to answer your question, we will respond to you after the webinar. So thanks again for joining. I'd like to start with introducing you to Ian Robertson, the Director of Sales and Marketing for our partner, BrightBridge. Ian.
Thank you very much, Teresa, and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this BrightBridge webinar with Jitterbit. If I could just start by making some introductions to the presenters today, if you wouldn't mind. So you have myself, Ian Robertson, as the Sales and Marketing Director at BrightBridge. We're shortly going to be speaking to Shaker, who's the VP of Product Marketing at Jitterbit. Then later on, we'll be meeting Paul. He's a Solutions Architect with Jitterbit, and we'll be doing the demonstration portion of the webinar. Teresa, who's obviously introduced herself already, and of course, Mark Anderson, who joins us from one of our customers, Acora. Just as a start, as our customers' requirements to integrate with other important systems increased, we needed to partner with a much more solid integration business. After some searching, we came across Jitterbit, and as a result, we've been working with Jitterbit for a little over 2 years now, and we've delivered a number of successful integration projects, including, of course, Acora. Earlier this year, Jitterbit announced a formal reseller program, and we were delighted to further strengthen our relationship by becoming the first NetSuite-based Jitterbit partner in the EMEA region. Our work with Jitterbit continues, and today we're currently leading 2 new major Jitterbit implementations for our NetSuite clients. So, without further ado, I'd now like to hand over to Shaker to take us through an introduction to Jitterbit. Shaker, over to you.
Thank you, Ian. Hello, everyone. So in today's presentation, what I'm going to talk about is how you can accelerate innovation through APIs and therefore connect a NetSuite to all of your other applications in your IT stack rapidly. So to begin with, give a quick overview of Jitterbit. Jitterbit has been around since 2013. And right now, if you look at G2 Crowd, which is a community review site, they have surveyed over 120 iPaaS vendors, and our customers have rated us #1 in customer satisfaction. And so that vindicates a lot about the strength of our iPaaS, the value customers are getting it, and how they're able to use to solve any of their complex integration needs. Some of the facts you need to know: we have over 62,000 users globally, and we are a 4-time leader in Gartner Magic Quadrant for Enterprise iPaaS, and we have progressed continuously over the last 4 years. So we have connected over 169,000 endpoints, so there's a very high chance that whatever the endpoint you are using, you can easily connect that to NetSuite. We have over 105% net revenue retention, which just says that customers want to add more and more systems as they connect to Jitterbit. Over 75% of our customers typically go live in their project within the first 30 days, and over 90% of our customers achieve ROI in 12 months. So that speaks a lot, which means not only can you achieve a rapid connectivity, but you can also bring in immediate value to your enterprise using Jitterbit. Some other overview of Jitterbit is we are a NetSuite SDN partner. We've been there for like 7 years. We have relationship with NetSuite, OpenAir, and several other products as well. And we've been a customer since 2015. So our app is actually built for NetSuite's BSN certified. And in terms of what you need to know about Jitterbit, like I mentioned, we have been around since 2003. And there's several investors behind us, which kind of says that there's a lot of trust in our company. Now, to segue a little bit on what do customers want to achieve through connectivity, so you could see somebody like Cisco, within their IT stack, they have 13 marketing technologies. So everything from Salesforce to live agents, to Eloqua, to demand base. So they're connecting a lot of applications internally. So the reason they want to do that is to orchestrate seamless business processes within their department. And that way, so data is no longer siloed. And if somebody wants to push data like a lead data, and there's a call center agent wants to call that lead to do better prospecting, they can make sure that the right data is accessible at the time they need. So in this example, we're talking about how Salesforce data can be pushed into Sixsense, which is an AI platform, which will parse through data and send it to Eloqua, where you would probably pass that to App Honey to know that, okay, what is my customer, get more data about that customer, and then live agent, a person using live agent in the contact center can know, therefore, what is my right target that I need to reach out, and so on and so forth. So that's just one business process. And you could probably orchestrate multiple business processes. It just depends on your company, what you exactly want to do, how you want to handle your customers. But the point being, at any point, you can deliver great customer experience from Cisco's perspective, where they are able to access data at any point they need. Yeah. So sales process is just the beginning. We know about how customers want to talk about have a true customer 360. We just saw that in Cisco's case. You could also have true visibility for customer data through an ERP. You could have great information about your inventory based on whatever information you have. It could be your local databases. It could be a specific inventory systems from your ERP and so on and so forth. But again, there's so many other departments that can leverage integration, mostly finance, supply chain, marketing, operations, support, HR. So these are just a few. But the point being that all the departments can orchestrate end-to-end business processes to deliver great customer experience. And integration is the only way you can achieve that. So here's a major fundamental problem that companies are facing. A lot of companies have carried the baggage of these legacy systems or custom applications. So companies, especially who have been around for several decades, they've had this, and they're not going to replace that at any point of time because that's part of their IT stack. So a lot of times you also have this custom code as evidenced by these lines. So that push data across these systems on a point-to-point basis. But you typically end up with a spaghetti-like IT stack, over a period of time. So that's the traditional way. But the problem is, how do you surface the data quickly across your modern SaaS applications? And now the language that the modern SaaS applications use are microservices and APIs. So that's the problem that companies are looking to solve. So as you see, the problem becomes that between this legacy data and these modern enterprise systems, there is a huge chasm. And companies are typically looking to have connectivity in traditional sense through point-to-point connectivity, where they're either doing custom code or they're using a niche application. So that doesn't really help companies scale, and that results in a huge chasm. You, as a companies, can no longer afford to hire millions of developers to build this connectivity. So it is very clear companies need some scalable approach to connect these applications and to transform, because all this data cannot be readily consumed. You need to obviously have some transformation mechanisms. And so therefore, if you are looking to connect NetSuite with any of these applications, which could be behind the firewalls, could be in the cloud, you really need a scalable approach to kind of surface data very quickly from these applications via either APIs and microservices. And the answer clearly is in enterprise iPaaS platforms such as Jitterbit. Now, through Jitterbit, essentially what you can do is make NetSuite the center of your universe. You can connect to any kind of application ecosystem. Could it be CRM like your Salesforce, or it could be your e-commerce, such as your Magento. You could have an ITSM system where you could use Jira. Whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, NetSuite ends up as being your center of your universe and connected to all these systems in real time using APIs. Now, Jitterbit Harmony, now that will help you connect a NetSuite to any of these ecosystems. Now, some of the use cases that our customers today use Jitterbit for is to provision their order data to NetSuite. So that data could come from, let's say, CRM, or it could come from the e-commerce when customers, submit that order information. So end of the day, you could deliver API integration across not only CRM and ERP, but even HCM and all the other kinds of applications. Now, one thing that Jitterbit does is help you get up and running very quickly. And the way we do that is through pre-built certified recipes. So that helps you to eliminate data duplication and inaccuracies. So a good example could be moving your customer data between your CRM and ERP, or your order data, or your account data. So what that means is, as and when that data gets created in your source, it gets pushed to your target thanks to these pre-built recipes. So data always remains in sync. Now, some of the other use cases we are also seeing is customers are integrating NetSuite to a lot of e-commerce apps. So some of the popular ones we are seeing is Magento, Amazon, WooCommerce, Shopify, and BigCommerce, just to name a few. So what's the value proposition if you were to summarize in like 4 simple bullets? Through Jitterbit, Jitterbit is built for NetSuite certified, so which means that it's a platform that has been recognized and certified by NetSuite. So not only are the recipes and other things that we provide are certified, but our whole connector and a lot of the whole how we help you connect to NetSuite quickly, so that has been certified by NetSuite. So you can trust us to provide value. So 2,100 customers have actually used our connectors to connect their NetSuite to any of the other applications that I talked about. So the other aspect is the platform itself is like a low-code tool. So one thing that I talked in the earlier slides, where people have built custom point-to-point connectivity through like coding, you can pretty much obviate the need to do any kind of development. Obviously, you can do more advanced things like scripting and transformation. So that's a feature inbuilt. But the point being that we can very quickly and easily connect to any system through a low-code, graphic drag-and-drop interface. So that's what that means is there is a very less onboarding time, and you can be up and running and execute your projects within a matter of days using Jitterbit. So we also give you a tailored proof of concept. So that's where we help you. So that way we help you prioritize what you want to connect quickly. We help you kind of show you how to do that. There's a lot of training information LMS available online. So that will help you. And we also have the world-class support team. So through all of that, we'll help you not only do a proof of concept, but also help you go live very quickly. 70% of our customers typically go live within 1 month, and 90% of them within 3 months. So we have a dedicated CSM that help you progress through your journey. So you can start on your most important projects, then you add more and more endpoints as you connect NetSuite and make it a true 360 in your enterprise. And among all the 120 other iPaaS vendors surveyed by G2 Crowd, Jitterbit delivers one of the fastest ROI. So that's something very critical for companies as they get value with integration. So why Jitterbit? To kind of literally summarize, so read 3 things. One is it supports API-based real-time integration, supports multiple integration patterns, real-time, data synchronization, file transfer. There's so many more. So if you want to really get access to that, contact our sales reps. We will tell you what are the things we can enable, or you can read any of the reports published by Gartner, MQ, by Forrester Wave. So that really tells you the depth of our platform. The second thing is it's a single platform. So if you want to, let's say, surface APIs from any of the legacy systems, you're not using the third-party tool, but it's a platform developed indigenously by Jitterbit. So it's a very consistent user experience. And it's, as I said, it's very easy to learn. And there's a lot of LMS, so you can be onboarded very quickly on how to use our platform. And the last thing being, a lot of things are available out of the box, such as pre-built recipes, but also you can create those APIs, and you can even do advanced things like scripting if you're like a technical developer. So it's, if you want to kind of get deep, we want to get very creative, want to build some rules, workflows. So all of that capabilities is available. So you can drive your complex business logic using our platform. So those are the key things you need to remember about Jitterbit. Now, in terms of, if you want to scratch the details, what's available in our platform, well, you have all these systems that you see at the bottom, be it monolithic applications, your FTP files, your enterprise apps, data warehouses, you name it. So whatever be the data source, you can connect to that very quickly. So there is what we have is an integration layer, a mediation layer, which helps you surface the data. And then on top of that, we have our API layer, which helps you actually move that data through standard-based APIs that any application can consume. So the end result is you can drive your strategies like customer 360, your employee 360, your product 360, supplier 360, you name it. So whatever it be, so you can orchestrate seamless information both within your enterprise, but also externally with your trading partners using our platform. Yeah. So in terms of deployment as well, so one thing that you need to remember is our platform supports both the cloud-based deployment, on-premise deployment, as well as hybrid deployment. So we give you all these capabilities using our platform. And the last thing I need to know as I conclude my presentation is there are over 2,100 customers globally. And so some of these brands that you see are obviously not includes Fortune 100 customers, but also small and mid-sized companies. So irrespective of who you are, what industry you may be, whatever kind of use case you may have, real-time or batch, we support everything. And all of these customers have been happy. So feel free to check out our website. You can see our testimonials, our case studies, go to Jitterbit where you can see what customers are saying about our platform. But net being, you can derive value quickly like any of these customers through our platform. So that concludes my presentation. Over to you, Ian.
Thank you, Shekhar, and thanks for that whistle-stop introduction to Jitterbit. I'd now like to welcome Mark to the webinar for a discussion about the NetSuite and Jitterbit project he was involved with. How are you doing, Mark?
Hi, Ian. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you.
Good stuff, good stuff. Well, just before we get on with some questions and answers, maybe you could start with a brief introduction to Akora for the audience, please.
Sure. So Akora are a global now manufacturer and distributor of medical devices, mainly chairs and beds. We have a subsidiary in the UK, which is where the majority of the staff are based. We've also got subsidiaries in the United States, and we are starting one up in the Republic of Ireland. So I've been with Akora for just over 4 years now, and we implemented NetSuite initially for the US subsidiary, and the UK subsidiary went live January of this year, and part of that rollout required an integration platform to push and pull order information over to our 3PL provider here in the UK.
Lovely, thank you very much. Just winding the clock back, Mark, if you recall that first time we met at one of the IT events, I forget which one it was now, what were some of the challenges that you were experiencing at the time with your systems at the time?
Yeah, that was the IT showcase in Wembley, I think in 2017.
Yeah, that was Wembley, yeah.
Yeah, so way back when, we have an on-premise SQL server-based ERP system. It's quite I wouldn't say it's bespoke, but it had a lot of customizations. It was getting quite painful to manage. It had no facility for multi-subsidiary. It couldn't handle the tax requirements for United States. So we were looking at new ERPs, and we came across NetSuite and yourselves. Since then we've worked together and come a long way, and thankfully that system's now just running in the background. We're not doing anything at all with it anymore, and yeah, we're light years ahead of where we were before.
Excellent. That's very good to hear. So at the time, what were your sort of NetSuite use cases, and what were you connecting NetSuite to?
Okay, so
with Jitterbit, sorry.
With Jitterbit, yes. So we have a 3PL, third-party logistics warehouse, and that's in Dartford, and they ship out the majority of our UK and export orders. We also have a third-party warehouse in the United States. So for the NetSuite UK deployment, we had to have a system in place that would replicate our previous way of transmitting order information over to the warehouse for dispatches, and also pick up their responses, their acknowledgements of dispatch, and process those back into NetSuite. So the item fulfillment records would be updated as the goods have been shipped.
Sure, got it. Thank you. And to kind of just come out of the deployment of Jitterbit now, so the actual the project that we did earlier on in the year, can you just talk us through how our teams went about that? Sure.
So we first found our feet with the US subsidiary in NetSuite, and that was quite a quick implementation. We basically spun up a new database. We didn't have anything to import, so we got up and running really fast there. The UK deployment took a good year of planning, but in terms of the Jitterbit side, we went from project development to go live within about 6 weeks, end to end. And we started on at the start of this year. It was a very kind of nerve-wracking time, but thankfully everything went without a hitch. The Jitterbit end, we were transmitting orders from day one without any problem. The processing of the responses, that development work had been started but not completed because we had no real way of testing until we went live. And thankfully, it only took 2 days after going live to have that sorted and processing the responses correctly. So that's great. Fantastic turnaround, yeah.
And that pretty much mirrors the sort of the time frames that Shaker was saying just 7 or 8 minutes ago during his pitch as well, about being at the very quick end of project implementation.
Yeah, the actual deployment itself was very, very user-friendly. Within a few days of being online and having done the Jitterbit training, the free training in the academy, I was able to maintain project variables and have real-time analytics, all off the cuff, which was great.
Yeah, excellent. So just to wrap up this session then, Mark, what are the results that you've seen since migrating to the cloud with NetSuite and Jitterbit?
Okay, so previously we had a very customized system, so much so that it barely resembled the off-the-shelf product. We had a number of issues day to day with it, specifically regarding the 3PL. When we were sending, or when we were attempting to send some orders over, if there was, an incorrect character in a field or something wasn't quite right, we'd have a backlog. Things would get stuck. We didn't really have any visibility over where it was going wrong as well, because it was all custom code, and we'd have to log all of those issues to our support for the ERP system at the time. So, we could have half a day to a day or so where we wouldn't have been able to transmit any orders because something would have been stuck and clogging up the system. So all those issues have basically been completely eliminated since we moved over to Jitterbit. Approximately 80% reduction in the issues that we've had. The only problems we've actually had since going live have been related to changes that NetSuite themselves have made. So nothing on our side or nothing with Jitterbit. Thankfully, they're all fixed relatively quickly because the analytics, the real-time reporting you can get out of the system is great. If an operation's failing, you can see exactly where it's failing. So it's really easy to resolve issues with Jitterbit.
Sure, brilliant. That's great news. Well, thanks for that, Mark. I really appreciate you taking time out to join us for the webinar today. And if you're not staying till the end, see you very soon.
Thanks a lot, Ian. Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, Mark. So, yeah, that was a really good chat with Mark there. So I'm now going to hand across to Paul now for the Jitterbit demonstration. So obviously in the time available, it won't be a completely exhaustive, but I'm sure it'll give you an overview of the power of the platform. Handing over to you, Paul.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure that I got everything lined up here. And it looks like we do have a good view of my screen. So this is the new Jitterbit Cloud Studio. And we are super excited to be sharing this with you today. Let's just orient real quick. You can see that we have a, sort of our typical operation flow. If you are familiar with Jitterbit or many other platforms, just think to yourself, where does the data come from and where does it go and then what happens? Right. One thing I really like about this is that, you can collapse this view, especially if you have a more complicated structure. You can get a nice bird's eye view here with logos. I find that very helpful. And then notice here on the right-hand side, this is really our pride right now. So many connectors available for you and lots of logos and lots of names. The Jitterbit Cloud Studio, we've been able to accelerate our development of our connectors. And in fact, our users can now create connectors in two different ways. A very simple, basically copy and paste wizard to create connectors for REST APIs with basic or anonymous authentication. Super common, very, very common use case. And then secondly, if you are so skilled, you can utilize the Java SDK and build some very, very powerful and robust connectors, especially for those that use complicated authentication structures like OAuth 2. Or also for SOAP APIs, it's recommended to utilize the Java SDK for those as well. But again, super powerful platform. You'll notice that you have a list of components here. You set up your platform on the right-hand side, and then you drag those components into the center. So today, what we're going to utilize is a often misunderstood yet extremely powerful solution from Salesforce.com to connect to NetSuite. Now, NetSuite has their super powerful Suite script language. However, there are ways to utilize real-time integration from, say, your CRM platform that don't require any coding. We could very easily show you working with Suite script and using their webhooks, but we wanted this specifically to be a no-code conversation today, so we're going to talk about using no-code in our solution today. So this is a very common use case, almost like an opportunity to quote solution. So what I'm going to do is I have Alatis Wholesalers. This is a new company here based in Chicago. And I'm going to just add this into my Salesforce account. Now, what happens here is that an outbound message leaves Jitterbit, similar to a webhook. All right, it's like clicking a button for computers, right, in real time. And it's going to send that data over to NetSuite. However, it does take a little pass through Jitterbit, through the Jitterbit platform, to land that API request, okay? Load that up as a, and then NetSuite says, okay, I got it. It replies, and then we update that account ID in Salesforce, all right? So let's just go straight into NetSuite real quick. And I really do like this feature of NetSuite, the capability to search, and you can see instantly Alatis Wholesale is right there, okay? And let's now do something from Salesforce again, and we're going to create a opportunity. So we want to do some business because we're in the business to do business, right? So we'll do a new opportunity here, and we'll call this, a super big deal, right? And we're going to set this to prospecting, okay? And then we'll hit save. Now this is really it's interesting because I'm a Salesforce admin, and I dabble in NetSuite. And this is a really common scenario from admins, and something that tends to frustrate them a little bit. All right, let's take a look at this real quick, and I'll show you how to get around this. So what we have here is we're going to receive that opportunity data from Salesforce. All right, and all this is going to do is just going to give me the opportunity ID. And that might seem strange, but the limitation of Salesforce is that it can only send the opportunity header, right? Basically, this stuff here, right? The details. Let me just get into that opportunity here real quick. The details of the opportunity, right? It's funny it's details, but this is really just the header. The owner, the name, the account name, the close date, and the stage. That's all that Salesforce can send out in real time without code. So what we do, the way that Jitterbit gets around it, and it's kind of an old trick, but old tricks still work, right? So what we do is we capture that opportunity ID and query back for the line items, okay? So this is a very important concept. And the reason why it's so important is because, you can do more than you think you can. If you're a Salesforce admin or a NetSuite admin and, you haven't had 6 years of JavaScript coding experience, it really doesn't matter anymore. You can do more than you think. And I'm pretty much testimony to that because, before I was working for Jitterbit for 3 years now, I was a Jitterbit customer for a year. All right? So let's get to it. What we're going to do is we're going to add our products here. And again, this is the challenge. Add my products in here. Add products. Just want to make sure that Salesforce cooperates here. All right, so I'm going to add a number of products. And since this is a wholesale, we're going to do large volumes here. So we'll do 100 here. We'll do 150 here. We'll do 175 here. And we'll do 200 of these guys. All right, now we'll hit save. Okay, again, the challenge is the header and the line items. All right, so now let's go into the details here, and we're going to change the stage to closed one. Now when I save this to closed one, boop, 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 I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. When I save it to closed one, again, what happens is that outbound message comes out of Salesforce, okay? It lands on the Jitterbit API platform. We query those opportunity details, and then we create that NetSuite sales order. Now, again, here's the details. Let's take a look in what that mapping looks like, because I think that this, again, might be something that is might seem impossible to new users, but it's really not. Because what I'm just grabbing here is my NetSuite ID, or that internal ID. Remember, I grabbed that from my account. All right, so I got to say, this is going to go to, a lot of wholesalers, all right? And then look what's being pulled out of here. And this is really amazing here because the size of the structure that you can write into on NetSuite is really, really incredible. In fact, my scrolling wheel is just too slow. I just have to grab it and drag it. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to say my item number. All right, we'll keep rolling down in here a little bit. There's my item number, which is the product code. All right, and let's roll down a little bit more. I believe it should be, oh, it was a little bit up. And then the quantity. That's the minimum that one needs. All right, there's a couple other fields in here that you need to put in as static fields to be minimum. But it's really impressive that with all of this information here, all it really takes is a couple, 2, 3 fields to make this happen. Interesting. So by now, with all my chatting away, we do have this in the NetSuite system. And so we'll go into sales. All right, and we'll see items purchased, and this will load up, and we'll see those quantities here. And really, that's it. There isn't much more than that. Think about your accounting 101 class. If you had an accounting 101 class like I did, I had a great professor. Where does the data come from, and where does it go? And then you just simply match that up to your business processes. And also, I'll add that Jitterbit is structured for people who are used to working with CSV files, right? So that's really our strength, is for the Excel business analyst, folks who are used to doing VLOOKUPs and transforming dates and calculations in Excel. That's what Jitterbit was really written for and built for. So if you're like me and you have an ERP system that you want to connect to a CRM system, I bet you're a NetSuite user if you're on the call. You might be a Salesforce user. You might be using HubSpot or Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Any other platform that's out there. You might even have your own that's, a roll your own CRM. You can do this with Jitterbit, and you have a lot more power than you think you do. So with that, I think I'm going to pass this ball back over to the rest of the team, and we can continue the presentation.
Thank you, Paul. The ball is passed over to the rest of the team. That was a good demo. I hope you all found that informative and a bit of a taste of the art of the possible with Jitterbit. So coming towards the close of the webinar now, Teresa, would you like to lead the Q&A session, indeed, if we have any questions from the audience?
Thank you, Ian. We do have some questions. So the first one, I think, is for Shaker. This company is looking to connect NetSuite to Salesforce CPQ. What's Jitterbit's pricing? I'm guessing that would be base pricing, Shaker.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 3 editions, Standard, Pro, and Enterprise. So if it's only 2 endpoints that you're looking to connect, it'd probably be the base pricing, like Teresa alluded.
Yes, and I believe that pricing is $1,000 per month to get started.
That is correct.
Great. Okay. We also have another question. Can you integrate with on-premises and cloud applications, Shaker?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can connect to any kind of on-premise applications. I would just say Oracle, your SAPs, your QuickBooks on-prem. So we have connected to a bunch of systems. So what I would recommend is go to our website, jitterbit.com, and if you look at their solutions by endpoints, we've probably listed out a bunch of them. So if you don't recognize any, if your system is not listed there, just give us a call, and then we'll be happy to assist you.
Great. And here is another question. Does Jitterbit have connectivity between Oracle Supplier Network and NetSuite?
We connect to a lot of Oracle systems. I don't know specifically if Oracle Supplier Network is there, but I'm pretty sure that, again, just reach out to us. We connect to all kinds of Oracle systems. We can get back to you if we do that. But I'm pretty sure we do.
Perfect. And do you have to pay extra for real-time capabilities? Yeah.
So if you want a real-time capability, so that is available with our Professional Edition. Like I mentioned, there were 3 editions. The real-time capabilities only starts with the Professional Edition, where you probably would be needing at least 3 endpoints or more. So NetSuite obviously is an endpoint. You're probably looking to connect to other endpoints like say databases or any of the other apps. So all of them are separate endpoints, but you do get real-time included as part of the Professional Edition. There's no extra cost.
Great. So those are the questions that we have from the audience. If anyone has a final question, please enter it now. If you have any questions that you think of after the webinar, we provided information for you, and as Ian mentioned, we'll be sending out the recording for you as well as how to reach out to us.
Good. Thanks, Teresa, and thanks for taking those questions, Shaker. So really, it just leaves me to thank all the presenters this afternoon. Thank you very much for your work, and obviously thank our webinar attendees. And yeah, just to reiterate that point that We will be sending a link to the webinar around to you so you can watch it again, and of course share with your colleagues. And secondly, the team at BrightBridge are available for further exploration into Jitterbit, or indeed a one-to-one demo if you prefer. So again, thank you again, and good afternoon, everybody. Have a good remainder of the day. Goodbye now.